Hello, this is Mrs. Ross, and I wanted to make a video about our next unit. It's going to be a little bit different than um, kind of the units that you've seen before. So our next unit, we're going to be talking about changes in Earth. In your book, it's called Dynamic Earth, Rapid and Slow Changes in Earth. However, next slide. Okay. This is different. We're going to do it differently than previous units because the book is merely a reference. Okay, so it's got vocabulary in it. It has extra information in it. Most of what we do will be either on computer or on paper. And I'll be providing all of the materials and information that you need. We did this last year with the rocks and minerals unit, I believe. Some of you like this and some of you do not like this. Excuse me. But what you have to understand is I look at all of the curriculums that are available, and I'm going to choose what I think is best. This particular curriculum is it's exhaustive. It has all of the information that I want you to know in it. It's a little bit, it has a lot. So let me just let me stay on script or else I'm going to go off on a tangent. Warnings. So in this particular type of curriculum, you do not want to get behind. You will get lost in the flow of information. It moves fast. So if you are absent, or either planned or unplanned, or if for some reason you are daydreaming in class, which is perfectly normal, and you don't know what you're supposed to turn in, I need you to ask questions, ask questions, ask questions. Email me, hey, Mrs. Ross, what lesson are we on? Was the bell ringer due? Were the notes due? What was due today? And hopefully you'll be able to go to the lesson planner to see all of that. But again, if the lesson planner doesn't answer your questions, please ask me questions. And so there are assessments as we go along the way. What I'm doing is I'm putting in a quiz every 3 lessons, and you'll be able to use everything that you have, your interactive notebook, your bell ringers, your reading, all of that on your quizzes. And the same for the test. So at the very end of this unit, which is huge, you have this huge test, and you'll be able to use all your materials. What I'm thinking about, because I may take all of your quiz grades and make them a test, and then you'll have this comprehensive test, because it's a lot of information. And I want to be fair with you guys. What do we have? That's not supposed to be there. And I'll post this I'll post the video. I'm going to have to obviously fix it now because that wasn't supposed to be there. But each lesson consists of the following activities. You'll start with this reading passage, and it has some questions from the reading. One of the reasons that we do this, even in science, is reading for comprehension is something that students struggle with all the way up through 12th grade and in college. You're going to have to read for comprehension on your job, in college, in everything. And it's something that students struggle with, trying to find the information. Here's the question, where do I find the information? So we will always read in science, and I think that's important. I want to give you guys the skills to be successful. I don't want to let you guys down and, hey, Mrs. Ross, why didn't you teach me how to read for comprehension? That's what we're doing. You are going to take notes from a PowerPoint. These notes are in a Word document, so if you do choose to do that electronically, you can. And they're compared to the notes that you guys take from the book, the notes you guys take from the book, frankly, I realize they do come directly from the book, but they can be kind of difficult sometimes. These notes are way easier because it's coming from a PowerPoint, and it's fairly straightforward. There's going to be a bell ringer. The bell ringer has some questions that you may be able to answer from either the notes or the reading passage. It's kind of like a quick review, and you'll do that in your spiral. It's on a little half sheet. And then you'll have your interactive notebook activity. Now, I have a little star next to it, and I'll tell you why in just a second, but that's going to be in your spiral. So you have a couple of activities that are actually in your spiral in the classroom. Then you have what's called homework. Whether or not it becomes homework for you is up to you. You can do that in class, but it's kind of yet another review, hey, this is what we're learning. Did you put it all together? How do we apply it, etc. Then you have a mini assessment. The mini assessment, and it may be like 7 questions. It kind of goes back and says, hey, did you get it? Did you not get it? You know? And then there's a reflection, and that has 2 little stars. So I'll talk about that here right now. Exceptions. So exceptions to that list that we just saw, these are the starred ones. On the interactive notebook, each lesson has either 1, 2, or 3 interactive notebook activities, depending on the subject. So I'm not going to expect you to get 3 interactive notebook activities done in the same time you get 1 done. So that's going to affect our scheduling. And then the second part on the reflection only has 2 questions. Every reflection has only 2 questions. 1 question is specific to the content. And this is going to be a chance for you guys to write. Yes, I know. We're writing in science. We're reading in science. You need to be able to do both of those things. And when we come to the first reflection, we'll talk about what it needs to look like. But it has 1 question specific to the content, and then another question that you get to choose. It's called a general response question, and I have a list of general responses. I think I have it on the next slide. General response prompts. You pick one of these and you answer it, okay? Now, last year when we did this kind of fell apart. It was really interesting because, you know, people don't want to do a whole lot of work. So we might do this in that I have you pick a different one every time. We'll kind of see. I would really like some meaningful, generic, that's hilarious. I'd like some meaningful reflection prompts. So let's keep going. Now you have a choice, okay? You can complete all of these activities on paper. And if you prefer paper and pen, that's perfectly fine, up to you. And what you'll do is once you finish an activity, you'll submit it to the Science 8 turn-in box. Now keep in mind, when I say you can do all of these activities on paper, what I mean is all of the ones that are not in spiral form, right? This goes in your spiral, this goes in your spiral. Everything else is up for grabs, okay? Or you can complete them all digitally. Now, most of them are fillable PDFs. So what you'll have to do is you'll have to open these files, save them immediately in your OneDrive, and then fill them out. If you don't do that, if you start filling them out, and then you go to another class, and then you close it out, and you lose all of your information, you get the opportunity to do the activity twice, which makes me sad for you because I don't want you to waste your time. Once you've completed the activity, you'll submit it in Schoology in the correct file. Don't email it to me, please. And if you're having trouble submitting it or trouble finding it, please let me help you, okay? And then, of course, I have the 2 items that are in your spiral, the bell ringer, which is the half sheet in your spiral, and then the INBs. And those are glued into your spiral. Last thing, I was thinking about this because all of this work that you are doing, you're gaining knowledge from this work that you're doing, right? I want to talk about it. I want to be part of it. I want to talk about it. Obviously, I love answering questions, but I'm going to be doing some biblical integration discussions. I love to hear your responses to those. You guys are so smart. And then I want to do some classroom discussions on the actual what we're learning. I'm not exactly sure where that's going to go or what that's going to look like right now, but I wanted to give you a heads up that that's my plan. I don't want to scare you, but this is kind of something that I've come up with because it is a lot, okay? So I have a place for you to check boxes, okay? Like the first lesson here is weathering, and you have a reading activity, notes, a bell ringer. You have 3 INBs, God bless, and then homework, mini reflection, mini assessment, and reflection. So what you'll do is you finish these, you can cross these off so you know where you're at. You also have a place where we can put a due date. So I'm hoping that this will keep you on track. Now keep in mind, this entire page that I have here, this whole page all the way up to the test, that's probably going to take us into at least January, is kind of what I'm thinking. So don't be scared. If you have any questions, let me know. Now that you've watched the video, I want you to go back to here and go to here, where you're going to tell me which one you want, either the print or the digital, and I'm going to try to accommodate that for each person in the classroom. Okay, so you may have people that are doing it on paper and people that are doing digitally. Whatever works for you, I want to individualize it for you. Okay, let me know if you have any questions. This video is already twice as long as I thought it was going to be. I love you guys. Have a great day.